here the question is regarding of Vishal Food Limited is a company of manufacture of biscuits, and the company has launched a new brand in the 4 metro cities: Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai. After 1 month, the company realizes that there is a difference in the retail price of the biscuit across the city, and they want us to analyze the significant difference is there or not. So if I tell you, so in order to go for that, the first thing we have to do is we have to go for the creation of the hypothesis so that we can verify it. So hypothesis is in this form. Whenever we are working with Anova, as we told about, that it is regarding the mean values we need to check. So here the hypothesis is whether all the means are same or they are different. Anova is successful in telling us the answer that whether the mean is same or different. If they are different, Anova is not giving us to giving the answer to tell us that which is different. So this is a drawback of Anova, that we will come to know whether the things are same or different, but how much they are different we are not going to cover under the Anova. So here we have the null hypothesis is written as that the mean sale is same in the 4 cities. mu1 is equal to mu2 is equal to mu3 and mu4. And alternative hypothesis is all the means are not equal. You can write down along with the unequal to sign, but it is also fair if you have written like this. So here we have an example that we are going to do, not this one, the earlier one. Let us go to the Excel now and do the things which is required. So here we have the data. I can zoom in. The first part, as I have already told you, is, and now we are going to start from here so that we can verify also that the things are same or different. Now if we revise, what is the first step? The first step is to calculate the value of the SSC. For SSC, what we have written, that the first step is that we have to calculate the mean of the 4 columns and then after the grand mean. So if I write down what we are going to calculate is, first we will calculate the sum in the each value, in the each column, then we will calculate the mean in each column, and then I will calculate the grand mean. Right? So these are the things which are required to be done. So if I calculate it, sum is equal to sum bracket, and then I can select the data values. I have done it for the first column. It's coming 132. Now if I click and drag it, it is done for all other columns. Correct? So here it's not hard to do on Excel, but you can imagine when we are doing on notebook with the help of a calculator, obviously it needs time. No? So next is mean. I can directly calculate average. If you are doing on the notebook, obviously you have to divide sum by the data values. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 values are here. So here I am going to take directly average because we have a formula in Excel. So that's it. And here we have selected the first, drag it to all others. We have done with the mean in all other columns as well. Right? So this we have sum and the mean. Now what we have to do, grand mean. For grand mean, what we have learned is equal to sum of all the sums. So we have here the 4 column sum, and it is to be divided by 4 because we have 4 columns. So we have sum of all these sums, means the total sum divided by 4. So it's coming as, no, I think I have done from sum. If I will do for sum, then I have to divide by the whole, or I can do the average. Let me take the sum of all means. Sum of all means divided by 4. Mean of the mean I have to calculate. So sum of all these values divided by 4. So that is the grand mean. Let me repeat. We have calculated the sum of all columns. We have calculated mean of each column. And then after I have calculated the one value, which is the grand mean, which is the mean of all these calculated mean. You can check. It is sum of all means divided by 4. It means mean of means. That is coming as 19.95. We have calculated sum, mean and grand mean. Now what we have to do, I have to calculate the SSC. And what is the formula for SSC is, we have to take the difference of this mean value and this grand mean and find out their square multiplied by the number of values lying over here. So if I do it, here we have 6 values in the first column, multiplied by, I have to take mean, xi, x bar I might be we have denoted, or xj is given in the book, minus this mean minus this grand mean, and cap 2, the difference, square, sum of square. That's why we are calling it a sum of square. We are doing the sum of the square of the deviation. Correct? So here we have mean minus grand mean square multiplied by 6. Now here also I can click and drag, but you know, when we are clicking and dragging, this grand mean is not here. It's present only in one cell. So you must remember what we have to do. I have to fix it. So I have to use $sign against the cell address. So here we have dollar against the cell address, so that I can calculate by dragging the formula for all other columns as well. Correct? Let me repeat what we have done. This is the mean of the 4 column. Grand mean we have calculated. Sum of all means divided by 4 means means of mean. And then after we have calculated SSC, in order to calculate, I have actually not calculated SSC. We are going to calculate SSC, sum of square of column, for which I have calculated these 4 values. What these 4 values are, here we have taken, let me use my pen in order to write down what the thing is. Here what we have is, in SSC, all these values are calculated as mean minus the grand mean, its square multiplied by 6. Only mean is used and grand mean is used. We have taken 22 minus 19.9 and 5 multiplied by 6. 6 means the data values in first column. Here actually the number of values are same. When they are different, you have to use it accordingly. Correct? So when I have done with this, what we are getting is these values. Correct? So this we have done with the formula for the SSC calculation. Now if we calculate what our SSC is, it is the sum of all these values simply. It is equal to sum. And why we have used $sign there? Because we have to fix a single cell value. So here we have the sum of all the values, and it's coming as 59.70833. So it is the value that we have calculated for SSC. Now let us start creating the table also. Here we have the heading, sum of squares. So if I create the heading, sum of squares, the first value we need is of SSC. And let me write down here the value is, it again, Control C, Control V. Control C, actually it's coming by the formula, so let me write down the value. Correct? It is, I have copied and pasted the value only, otherwise it's not taking, because there we have calculated in the formula. And now I can do the formatting. I can merge the cell. This is just the formatting. If you want to do, it's fine. Otherwise, okay, because these are falling under the same header, sum of squares. Okay, so this is SSC, a header, and this is the value of SSC. Now, what we need to calculate is the next step, SST. As I told you, I'm not comfortable with SSE because there I need to calculate for different cells. So what I'm going to do is, let us create 3. Here we have 4 columns. So we are going to take the value of difference. Let me take D1, D2, D3 and D4. SSC we have, here we have calculated grand mean. Now these 4 values are mean minus grand mean square into 6. Let me show you again. Here, let me do it actually. Without doing, you will might be number. Let's see, is equal to 6 values are there. So I have taken 6 into the difference of mean and grand mean and its square, cap 2. Now when we are doing the square, one more additional thing is required, is to fix the column value, the cell value. So I have taken $, against the cell address E, and it's 36 also. Press enter, click and drag it. and it will be done for all other columns. And then SSC is just the sum of all these values. Whatever we have done as a mean minus grand mean square multiplied by 6, I have added these 4 values to get SSC. Right? And then after, I have just written over here what the values are, because we have to present our work also at the same time. You know? So that's why I have just started with the same thing to write down here. Now the next thing we are going to calculate is SST. We need actually SSE, but we are going to calculate SST. Right? Now when we start with the procedure of SST, what we have written is it is equal to the difference of each value of the data, this minus the grand mean. Each value of data from the grand means and their square. So let me start with the square. I've started with the bracket, this minus grand mean cap 2. But again, I have to do it for each and every cell. So I have to put the grand mean value fixed, press enter. And now see, this is the beauty of our SST, that why I used to do SSTs. I have written the formula only once. Now I will click and drag it in the column wise. And when one column is created, I'm going to click and drag it to the other one. And see, the data is just same which I have created here. So it's looking like a big calculation, but let me repeat so that all of you can see it's very beautifully created by the formula. Is equal to sum of any of the value we can take, but I'm going to start with this corner so that I can click and drag it to make it a matrix type. So it is this, and again forgot to take a bracket, this minus this grand mean value cap 2. This is the only formula, data value minus grand mean cap 2. And in order to start with the formula, in order to drag it, I'm putting a dollar against E and dollar against 36, because it is the cell address E36. Press enter. Now you can drag it column wise, you can drag it row wise. Like this I can drag, it's still the same thing. Now what I need to go for is SST means sum of this whole data. So I will just select all the data values, press enter, and this is my SST. Correct? So this we got is SST. Now what is SSE? I have not to calculate, because we know this is total minus SSC, and that is my SSE. Correct? That's why the reason is that I'm using SST, because once I have written and I will drag it and doing the sum, easily I can calculate the SST value. Right? Now the next thing we have to write down is degree of freedom. What is the degree of freedom? How many columns we are working with? 4 columns. Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta and Chennai. So it is column minus 1 means 3. C minus 1. How many data values we have? See, 4 columns and 6 value in each. Total count is 24. So here we have 24 n minus of C. How many columns? 4. So we are getting, I forgot to have equal sign, 24 minus 4. That is 20. And if I go for the total, obviously it's n minus 1. 24 we have counted now. 24 minus 1 gives me 23. And we can verify that 20 plus 3 is also 23. So this is the degree of freedom that we have calculated. Now what the next column is? Mean squares. So here we have mean squares, and again I'm going to take it in 2 columns to merge them so that I can write down properly what is my MSC, and now we can write down in between MSC and MSE. Why I have written? That's why I have taken a line in between, because it's coming as a difference of the 2. Correct? So what we MSC is equal to this SSC divided by its degree of freedom, and MSC is equal to this 9.25 divided by its degree of freedom. So here we have done with the thing. We are getting the values. And finally what I need is, we need the value of F statistic. And what is the value of F statistic is? Here I can write down the formula. So let me again take the two cells and make it as a header. This is the final one, and let me take it like this. So it is equal to MSC divided by MSE. I have written in theory part, and now we have the values. This divided by this, and this is what I am getting is 43.03. Okay. Now what we need to do is, okay, I think I have missed one thing. Here I have missed the header, source of variation, which is obviously very important because I have started with the calculation. So here we have the thing between columns, and here we have within columns. Let me use wrap text. So this is the source of variation between column and within column, and this header I can give as total. So that's all, and we have done with the F statistic 43.03. Now if I give you the standard value, the F standard value at 3,20. It is right on F standard value at 5% level of significance. 3,20. Now what is 3,20? This numerator and denominator degrees. Right? So here if we have, so the standard value is given to us as 3.10. This is given to us in the book. I will share the book with you. You can go for the example over there also. The same answer I have taken from there. I'm using that book only for the practical purpose, not for all, for this Anova. Right? So here if I compare, the standard value is 3.10. So tell me, the hypothesis is accepted or rejected?